Tim, it's hot outside.
I love it.
It's summer, which means people are doing stuff like hot rod power tour. It means people are installing systems, like yourself.
Yeah, I've done a few.
Yep. But we're here. We're back. Tech Tuesday, episode 80. Episode 80 with the recent release of the Killshot Fusion. What is the Killshot Fusion, Tim?
It's great. It's some of that new we're bringing. So we've progressed in our throttle bodies, and we just keep adding technology. I mean, hardcore. We changed how it looks so it fits more air cleaners, and we added progressive stuff so it tips in better. We've done all kinds of interesting things with the Killshot too, and then we kind of crammed it all together in one very good package that is efficient and easy to install. I mean, we did that Camaro install in 28 minutes, and there's no Hollywood magic in that. The only Hollywood magic was I saw that Reed had edited out me losing my breath pushing that car out of the garage because it's heavy. And I'm sure you guys didn't really want to hear that anyways, me just wheezing into a microphone.
You can see it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I'm like walking around a car like, so this thing, it was great. But the Killshot Fusion is quite an interesting thing. I put about 5,000 miles on one. The prototype, like prototype stuff. Like, it's not finished out. It was wires everywhere, which I think we'll put that in the video today. Why not? It'll be fun. But the thing is, like, the Killshot Fusion, I mean, we're doing something different that other companies have already had that setup. We're adding the ECU to the throttle body. A lot of people like that. Some people don't like it. That's why we keep the options available.
Whoa. An ECU to the throttle body at Ace's fuel injection.
That's a fact.
Run that by me one more time.
Well, the problem that existed with putting an ECU on a throttle body is a lot of vibration and temperature. That's really the core of all the problems that happen with that thing. So we beat it to death with engineering. We looked at what kind of components can we get to deal with the temperature? What kind of measures can we take to, absorb any kind of vibration? And then there's the other the problem with RFI EMI. There's an electrical nightmare that happens underneath the hood of a vehicle. Anytime a fan kicks on, AC compressor, starter hits, distributor, all those spark plug leads, they're all high tension as it goes. So there's a lot of electrical energy that comes out of that. We built in extra protection and filtering into hardware, and then did some really, really cool, tricky stuff into software to mitigate any kind of rogue signals, anything high delta related, just done. Just clipped them right out of there so that the system can still operate even pretty much inside of an electrical storm.
Yep.
So it's quite nice. I mean, we did a lot of stuff, even built in some very, very special. With the drivers itself, we built in a redundant coil driver to help share the load of extra heat, and be able to use a different variety of coils. Like, you can put a blaster or two, or an igniter or two, or any of those other ones like that, or canister style coils on there to have that built-in internal dwell time. Our system can stretch its legs a little bit more there now, instead of being so limited on that. Now it's like, oh yeah, I don't worry about hooking one up.
Yep. Very soon you'll see a full educational video from Tim here, which we actually plan to shoot after we record this.
Yeah, well, I got the thing right over here
with the prototype of the Killshot Fusion, and we'll throw in some B-roll and stuff of the Killshot Fusion that we have today. But basically, we'll go over testing, like every single, like what makes this system okay with RFI and EMI. We have B-roll from the actual manufacturing facilities themselves.
Yeah, been there.
So you can see what we're talking about, what Tim's talking about, not just like, they're tested, they're good to go. But no, it's actually a little bit more, that's what they mean when they say extreme heat testing, or, whatever. So there is the main reason is to create another option for people. I think we've been to many shows. People are talking about, hey, I love the idea of a remote mounted ECU, but I don't want to drill a hole in the firewall or the fender of my beautiful 1950, fill in the blank. It's a really nice car. They don't want to do anything like that to it, and they're not going to reach the ECU all the way back under the dash. So,
yeah,
those kinds of things. This is just another option for people like that, for example.
It's true. I mean, that was on the when I was talking about this initially. That was on the project board of like, what are reasons that people would rather have it on the side of it, because we want to handle all the market.
Yep.
Some people like that. That's why they go with other brands. We figured we offer that too.
Yep.
But we took an engineering approach. It's easy. It's easy to put it on the side. It's hard, which we took the hard path on most of the stuff we've done to make it work correctly and be able to deal with the abuse of being up there on that thing.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I can build you an ECU out of an old Arduino that would run your engine, but it ain't going to last long in that environment because it's not made for that. Our stuff's made for exactly what we're doing with it.
Yep. If you want to see more on the Killshot Fusion, we just released 2 videos at the end of last week. One was Tim installing it, and the second one was Tim going over some base parameters.
Yeah, well, I mean,
a little bit better.
Because of the aggressiveness of that big block in the Camaro and how fat that cam is, it makes no vacuum. Like, that's where you start getting into the territory. Like, yeah, I do need to get the laptop out and fiddle with a few things. But as I've proven previously, didn't do it on video, but I did start that thing and run it on the Wizard. It was fine. I've ran several big blocks and small blocks on the Wizard with that thing, and it's very drivable. It does learn. It looks at what the O2 sensor is doing and learns it, and it takes a little bit longer because it's a big fat cam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even know what cam it is, but it's like 12. The thing runs at like 75, 80 kPa. It's crazy.
Yep. You can check it out on our channel. I'll make sure it's linked in the description below. But
everybody
you guys,
has the flu here.
Yeah, everybody's sick. It's okay. But seriously, why you clicked on the video was to answer questions you guys have about the system. So
let's get it.
Let's do that real quick. What we'll do first is we'll go into the videos from the live. If you didn't know, last Tech Tuesday was a live.
Oh, yeah.
Where Tim installed the jackpot with Ken live down in Georgia.
It was mainly Ken installing it and me just talking trash the whole time, so it was cool.
No, it was totally fine. And there's a lot of good information in there as far as just, you know, I love the fact that you just hooked everything up straight out of the bag. There was no, you know, pre-set up or anything like that. Sure, Ken had the engine stand ready to go when we got there.
That was the most ready thing. Like, we wasn't even 100% there was fuel in that cell, by the way.
That's why it took 2 cranks to start it.
You know, that's where you get into the Hollywood magic of things. Like, if you see somebody that they throw it on there and there's a good chance as soon as they hit the key, it fires up if they haven't cycled the key a bunch. On the run stand and on the Camaro install, you notice that neither time we had fuel all the way up to the system.
Yep.
Totally, you know, in the rails inside the throttle body. So it didn't exactly start on the first get, and that's because there was no fuel there. I had to wait for that motor on that Camaro to pump fuel into the reservoir to pick up fuel to put into the throttle body. I mean, I guess I could have primed it a bunch and cranked the motor a bunch before then, but it's not.
That's not what you're doing.
It's not the reality of it. It's like somebody's going to run into that exact thing. It's like, why ain't it starting? It's like, oh, I ain't got no fuel up to it.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for the motor to pump it into the thing
Yeah. Anyway, so if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. The first question is from jeffreyrigged. He says, that's another reason why I like you guys. You actually listen to the comments.
Yeah.
We try.
That's the whole structure behind doing these kind of videos is, you know, there's so many comments we can go through and just, you know, hire somebody, assign somebody to sit there and reply to comments literally all day on social media. We have that volume of it because we have somebody.
We actually do that.
We have somebody that does that. We actually shared some of that workload too. So sometimes it's tech that answers, sometimes it's engineering that answers. Let me tell you.
Yep. But we'll do our best.
None of us are shy from it.
That's why this segment exists, so that we can make it a little bit more personal.
It's literally for the people.
After you, sir.
CGR Stang could be
STNG, I don't know.
Yeah, cool. I personally would like to see more screenshots of what you're adjusting and tweaking. For me, it helps tie it all together You're saying what you're doing at 6 bidder. That's true, but yeah, when we was doing that, it was live, so it's kind of hard for Ben to, because Ben was running around taking pictures from all angles, some flattering, some very unflattering of me, I'm telling you that. But yeah, he could have cruised over there and snapped a couple pictures of the handheld, but there was a camera there, unfortunately. Yeah. But we'll try to incorporate that in the next ones. When we're doing that, we'll try to get a little bit more up close so you guys can pause the videos and have a peek at that if you like.
Yeah. The other thing is, we've been wanting to do more of the advanced tuning software videos.
Yeah, that's a big push.
Unbeknownst to you all, the Killshot Fusion was a project, and there are other projects that are going on too. But we should have a little bit more time to do that. And with the most recent one on the Killshot Fusion, I think it can be helpful as well for initial adjustments as well.
That was the when we decided to film that, I was already standing there with all the cameras and stuff, and I'm like,
why not?
Let's just do this. I got a laptop. Let's plug it in and just make this video. Because why delay it? Because we're trying to do that. I've been pushing real hard on these different documents, and now it's time to make all the videos to back them all up. So all for the people, literally.
It's true. TorxGarage.
Yeah.
Nice. Just started getting into these videos and actually find them pretty interesting.
Thanks.
Sweet. Awesome. Just bought a Killshot 1.
One of my favorites.
To try on my 73 F100 with the 390. After that, my 65 Galaxy with a 352 needs one too. I really want multi-port, as I believe it's better all around over TBI. Any chance of a wildcard and joker system coming for an FE? Either way, excited to give you guys a try finally. Oh, and after those two, I have a 392 I want to use the Hemi EFI kit on as soon as I figure out what to put it in. And he's got an OBS Yukon, a Crown Vic. Love that. Jag, XJS are my top 3.
All right, cool. So that 392 needs to go in that XJS. There should be plenty of under the hood clearance. I've done a lot of LS swaps on those things. Yeah, we both got a cough here. Sorry about that, folks. Make sure on that 392 that it's a 60-2 reluctor. That's what our system targets, because we already had the parameters for 58X. We just changed the strategy, did some other stuff, moved where the TDC mark was. You should be looking pretty good on that. And even if it's not a 60-2, you can buy the conversion to swap out that reluctor. Yeah. You should be doing pretty well. But yeah, put it in the Jag. You should be able to modify up some some Dirty Dingo LS mounts or something like that to try to fit that Hemi. I think the bolt pattern's about the same, but it'd be a minor amount of fabrication. Yeah. That's just my suggestion. Then I'd put a big old hog 4080 behind it with the adapter housing. I mean, you'll probably be like $6,000 into the whole conversion at that point. But yeah, that first swap I ever did on a Jag like that, it was. I was done, and I was still wondering what else I had to do, but I was like done. It was crazy. Like it was meant to take it. I know they used to put small blocks in them back in the day when those Jag motors went bad.
Really?
That was like one of my first jobs back in the day.
Really?
I worked at a Mercedes place.
That's sick. All right. I got a long one here. It's a question for the terrific Tim. Sorry for the long question.
Mediocre terrific today.
We're doing our best. I have a 76. I know it's hot as yet.
Yeah.
I have a 76 K10 doing rust repair, and I have the Royal Flush. I've been infected with while in here. I might as well ...
Yeah.
When I installed the Royal Flush, I installed my LMC Trucks EFI saddle tanks. Pretty sure it's just Tanks Inc. I had to change the tank selector valve to the 6-port from the 3-port, and all versions seem to be plastic Pollock valves.
That's facts.
Fixed barb nipples.
Also true.
I want to clean up my fuel lines and either go mostly hardline or go with a PTFE hoses, or go with PTFE hoses. Are you aware of any electric tank selectors that are threaded to accept AN fittings? Not really an ACES question, but Tim is very knowledgeable and was wondering if you came across anything like this. There's definitely a void in the market because when you look at a lot of selector valves, they claim they aren't rated for higher pressure. And if ACES offered an EFI-specific selector, valves, I think it would be pretty cool. I know Tanks Inc. offers a workaround through a filter/regulator with check valves, but I believe this is a rated 56 psi and ultimately dead heads.
Where that information went. So, any hoozles, yeah, the filter regulators and check valves and Y block essentially. I drew that. I drew a diagram much like that quite a long time ago. My suggestion, which sounds crazy, is look into hydraulic technology. Look for a multi-gang shuttle valve with those options in there. You might be able to dig something up. Because when it comes into those shuttle valves, you think about big hydraulic manifolds like what you get on a John Deere tractor or something like that. You can find them that are electronic valves as it goes, and they'll just change position. And that's just all it is a shuttle valve diverter manifold thing. See if you can't find one of those that has all the appropriate thing, because it should be able to deal with the petroleum-based fuel, but also deal with the high pressure necessary and temperature and a whole bunch of cycles on it. Yeah. That's something I was thinking about here recently. Is if I can find a hydraulic manifold like that, or convince the engineering team to start looking into, maybe we should just make our own type situation, then that might be something we look into, because those plastic ones, we know they just flat out good. They're $70 and they always break. You got to keep a spare. So there's that. But I would look at something like a shuttle valve just to see, or spool, or they call it spool valve sometimes too. But nevertheless, that might be something worth looking into to see if you can get around that or work around that. Because you might be able to find one of those for appropriate money, and it should have the hydraulic fittings that can easily go to an AN style connection.
Yep. Sweet.
I'll look that up a little bit later, because if I find one and it's like $40-$50, man, I might buy one of those things and post it somewhere like it. Hey, if you're thinking about this, give this a shot. Yeah. Because I'm getting ready to do a whole bunch of stuff with fuel systems, and that might be a thing I do just for testing, just so I can answer the question: is this junk or not? Yeah. And if it is, then it is. If it ain't, then it ain't.
Touche.
Yeah.
After you, sir. I've read 2 in a row.
SB Nova 1. I have a Killshot 1. I like
Heck
that.
Yeah.
Just bought a Killshot 2 to upgrade. Yep. Can you use Killshot 1 ECU with a Killshot 2 throttle body?
Yes.
Yep. Sure can. I'd like to know if my Killshot 1 ECU can be used as a spare. It appears that ECUs share the same part number. It's true. The ECU is going to be the same thing. There's a little small change in the harness. Heck, you could swap out the harness and throttle body. The only thing is the new modern Killshot 2 and new Killshot 1 harness has that extra pin for the fuel pressure transducer. Yep. So if you have an OG Killshot 1 harness and you just swap out the throttle with the original original ECU, it's just your fuel sensor ain't going to work the same. That's it. Yep. You can do it. I swapped it around a dozen different directions just to get every combination I could do, and that's the only thing I could find that wasn't really hitting on the limiter. But then again, I still enjoy using an external sensor for that, because it stabilizes it. When you get it up near the injectors, it gets a bit of noise, but it will give it to you. But I was thinking about moving down the rate in which that reads, so it just kind of smooths it out.
Yep. And also, I would say if you've already run the KS1 ECU, might not be a bad idea to reflash it if you are going to keep it as a spare.
I mean, I'd use the newest.
Other than that, go for it. John Nobles, why are you turning it off to adjust the IAC, Ken?
Well, Ken responded.
To that. Your fueling will be off at idle.
That's true. I mean, I know I do it while it's running and everything, but I also reset the TPS while it runs too. So it says not to do that, which is true. There's small differences, but Ken takes a pretty good approach at this stuff, and which I respect.
Yeah.
But we all got our own little method of doing stuff. Sometimes if you're doing that and then you cycle the key after you got it perfect and you start it back up, you'll notice that it would just still be a little bit off, and you have to adjust it again once or twice. But that's why he cycles the key every time, just to make sure that it's exactly what he's wanting it to be, and he ain't got to come back around and fiddle with it some.
Yep. Yeah. Now we're on to the Killshot video. The Killshot install video.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. It was hot. I was sweating the whole time.
It's always hot.
Man, I got sweat in my eye in that video.
It's June. Chattanooga. TorxGarage, again, says, looking forward to this one. Couldn't find a good spot on my truck to put the Killshot 1. I just ordered, so this is exactly what I wanted. See, telling you, the ECU. Let's see if it can handle the desert heat. Bingo. Does it have a built-in fuel pressure sensor or the wiring for an external one? Oh, man. Sorry, guys. You just have to forgive us.
Yeah, it's actually, to answer, what did you do with my computer, man?
It's right there.
Where?
I put it on the box. It's right behind that little thing.
Let me tell you, I'll give you the answer right now. Check this out. I got my laptop out.
Dual laptops.
Activate corporate emails. You like that?
R&D.
Yeah. What's an R&D laptop? There's weird stuff that goes on in this thing. Check this out. This is what we'll be sending. So if you can see right here, this is all the schematics. We got CAN, we got coil, we got VER, we got CTS, wideband, additional wires. You can see right there, no fuel pressure sensor. We're going to have fuel level, TPS out, fan 1, fan 2, ground trigger tack out, oil pressure sensor. Yeah, so right here in the additional wiring, there will be one for oil pressure sensor. It's a 20 gauge purple wire. You'll be able to wire that into the little pigtail, which will be 5 volt. It'll be the oil pressure sensor wire, and it'll be a ground. So the answer is yes.
Yep. I can put this schematic in the Tech Tuesday episode.
I will send Benjamin a screenshot of this schematic so he can drop it in there and be like, look at this thing right here.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Activate laptop.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm actually putting all this information right here because I just received this earlier, the updates for this. So this will be going out. That, I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So. Secret things.
FloridaCrackerKustoms. What a way to spell that. How do I prevent my Killshot with inline fuel pump from bleeding off all the fuel after it sits for a while? I have to turn my key on and off 3 times before the fuel primes the throttle body. I've already upped my fuel prime percent and fuel prime time. Is there not a fuel check valve in the ACES Killshot Complete system?
No. Now, higher performance stuff does that, but you can buy an aftermarket inline AN style high flow check valve. It looks like a weird little stubby filter thing, but yeah, you can get those check valves like that, and it'll prevent backflow. So you go pre-filter, you go pump, you go check valve pretty close to the pump, and then you go way upstream to the fine filter before you get to the throttle body. That ought to help your headache out right there. But sometimes, depending on how your setup is, whether it's bleeding back through the regulator itself or bleeding back through the pump, they're meant to bleed off because of the pressure will expand in there and then start vaporizing a bit.
Yeah.
But if you keep it under pressure, depending on your underhood temperature, you shouldn't have any kind of issues at all. But yeah, I've put a few check valves like that, and literally, I think I got them on Amazon. They're of another brand, but I mean that's fine too. It's cheap, so they work. I haven't had no leaks, no problems, no restrictions. So make sure you get the high flow one though. I like to get the one that has the -6 fittings on it.
Yep,
it's my favorite. Where are we at? TagGeorge. I didn't know this was coming out. I have a friend that was thinking about getting a system. Now I think I will sell him my Killshot 2 and get this. Yeah, that's if this is more fitting for you and you got a buddy that wants to get that Killshot 2 off you, that's not a problem. Killshot 2 is a good system. I mean, I'm not going to sell mine anytime soon, but with the price point we're selling the Fusion at, yeah. So.
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of one of those decisions where they just told us launch it, and we were like,
yeah, we was getting prepped. We was going to do it like a month out, and was just like we did some videos, did some stuff, collected information, and we like realized we kind of already had everything. And we're like, you know what?
Let's just do it.
We got some stuff coming up, man. Let's just send it, and we did for you, the people.
Yep. All right, fathergratwick. Is there any documentation or information anywhere comparing the features or advantages or disadvantage of the Killshot Fusion versus the Killshot 2?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think me and Josh worked on one of those. But it's just comparing apples to oranges. Like, what's the Killshot 2 got versus what the Killshot Fusion has. And that's something I think we need to do a little bit more broad spectrum between the Killshot 1, 2, Fusion, Royal Flush, and do just massive bullet points, which is, I think it's something they're already going to incorporate into the website eventually anyways.
There is a little bit of that already.
So, yeah, it's kind of out there. It's not like this big market sheet or anything, but,
you just go to a product page and scroll down. It'll have, like, a comparison.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've added the Killshot Fusion to that yet, but basically, Killshot Fusion has the throttle body structure of the Killshot 2.
Yeah.
And the ECU is built into the throttle body. Killshot 2 has a remote-mounted ECU, and it can do things like run dual quads, and it has an internal fuel pressure sensor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's expandability. The Killshot 2 offers more expansion than the Fusion, but the Fusion is simpler, more compact, easier to hide wires.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an all-in-one unit versus the Killshot 2, which has expandability.
Yeah,
where you can throw that extra throttle body down. You can do stuff. You can put the ECU remote.
Yeah, Killshot 2 comes with the the HD handheld, the third generation handheld.
Oh, I forgot all about that thing.
64-bit.
Just spoiled on always having one.
So
I use it on everything.
Yep. So those are the main things. I think you can now get either a Gambler's Edge distributor or Gambler's Series distributor, not a Gambler's Edge. That's an intake. Mm-hmm. And the Blackjack Pro, which is a magnetic pickup distributor, you can choose now on whatever throttle body unit you want. So if you want magnetic,
that's great.
You got it. If you want a Hall effect, go for it. Full send.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw that the other day, and it made me really happy because we had talked about it for a while. Carl Smith, Brian Webster, you guys know. Motor XSR3846, built-in ECU, ? Isn't that too much heat coming to it?
I'm glad you asked that question. That's where the engineering comes in. So a lot of other companies out there use industrial-grade chipsets, which has a very low, in my opinion, thermal limit. We use automotive-grade chipsets, which has a way higher automotive standard for chipsets, which
this is a huge deal. I don't think we really mention. We might say it sometimes in passing. Most of our competitors use industrial-grade chipsets.
That's true.
We are one of the only ones that
not in all their systems. Some of them they use, automotive grade.
Correct.
But they cost. You can see there's a huge cost difference and stuff because it does cost more. We're just not charging you guys more for it.
Correct. But all of our systems have that industrial or that automotive grade chipset. So.
Yeah, but that moving the thermal limiter up to 125 C with built-in protection for power latch system. Whenever you are above that temperature and you activate it, it does an internal safety check. It sees it and says, "Hey, we're too hot here. Back to safe mode it goes." That's super important because it's not going to let that thing start up and do its job and sit there and cook itself and damage all the components. It's going to give you the opportunity. And you shouldn't be starting your car at like 250-something degrees. That's not great. Turning fans on is one thing, but sitting there and let it marinating, that's where these things get damaged. And, under the hood temperatures does get pretty high, but it has to heat soak. It has to stay there. It has to actually kind of trip that switch as it goes. And we move that up because all of our components are at the same rating. The connectors, the wires, the pins, the chipsets, the epoxy is super special to ours because of its heat and expansion capabilities. The coating, it's a high-temperature ceramic coating too. So it's just one of those things. Like we really built the precautions in to deal with the heat on purpose.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And if you look at the PC board, it's very attractive the way it's laid out. It's visually appealing to me. I like it. I like the way it's laid out. I like a good circuitry architecture.
We'll show you that. I don't know.
I think it's
the video
in one of the adverts, isn't it?
Not yet. It should probably be out today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We actually show the thing. You'll see what I'm saying.
You will see the all of the chipsets that that Tim is talking about, and explain them. So, and we'll also do it in the educational video. So,
yeah.
Or I guess this would be the third educational video. Jesse Viaz says, "How much is it?" It's $599.99 right now.
$599.99 with the screen.
Yep. I've been reading all of these questions. You go. Sorry.
That's all right. Glenn Johnson, 6981. I haven't had good luck with my Killshot 1. Been trying to get them to replace the IAC and was faulty out of the box. Since March, had no problem replacing the more expensive wideband 02 that was also faulty from the get-go. I've been getting the runaround telling me to do things I've already done multiple times, taking video proof, etc. Sent them to requested. Still, no new IAC, just the same list of things. Why can I not get a replacement IAC? Who knows? Well, depends on if your IAC's bad. The IAC and O2 sensor eating each other kind of tells me that you've got too much fuel going on. So there's something oddball going on in the tuning. One thing I'd look at is the pulse width at idle on a Killshot 1. Mm-hmm. You should really be floating around 2. If you're floating around 6, it's going to be jacking that IAC all the way open to get as much air as possible, and that extra fuel is going to flood out that wideband O2 sensor. It could just be an adjustment issue. The IAC may be okay. But if it's actually stuck in position or just flat out not moving, one way to tell is to, when you cycle the key, get a flashlight and look down in the hole and make sure that pin tool's coming all the way to rest. If it comes all the way forward and rests after a key cycle or two, the IAC's doing its job. It might just be going wide open on that because of it's reactive to fuel.
Yeah.
I've seen that a few times. Oh, there's a reply to that. Let's see what the reply is.
That's because I had the OBS.
Somebody says at this point, just buy it. Okay. You can also send it in for an RMA too. We can test it on our motor to make sure everything's good. It's easier for us to replace it.
Yeah. If you're still having a problem with it, I mean, there's all kinds of things we can do to quote-unquote troubleshoot it over the phone. We can talk about how much pressure is being sent to the unit. We can talk about what is it going in, what's it built with, what's the cam, all of these things. What did you run through the Start Wizard on? We can do that all day long. The best thing to do is probably just call and have it sent in for an RMA. I don't know what you mean by keep getting the runaround, but it's a relatively simple process. I think if you call into customer service, they can put you in to have a technician call you back. They can diagnose it over the phone with you. If you already believe it's an IAC issue and an O2 sensor issue, you can explain that to them. You can send them data logs, and you can already have all those things ready to go, preferably, but even not, they will still work with you on that. And if you need to get it sent in for an RMA, they'll issue that for you. They'll get it tested, send it back out.
I believe we're the only company currently actively that our core testing that we do on stuff. Like, you guys send a throttle body in to test or an ECU or what have you not. We run it on a car or we run it on one of our engine test stands. Right now, all the cars are occupied, so we're running everything on engine test stands. Other things I've seen in the industry, personally and distantly, I've seen they just plug it into a test bench that rings it out and says, good to go, green light, send it back, there's no problem. We actually run them up to temperature. So, we make sure the injectors do their job. The the fan triggers do their job and all that stuff. You just the thing is when you're calling in for that kind of support and you're looking to do an RMA, be very, very, very detailed, because when they get the notes back in my department, it turns into like we need all those details.
Yeah,
because we'll test for exactly what you got going on the best we can.
Yep.
But I think that's we're probably looking at you got a bunch of fuel going on there.
Definitely. It's okay. We can get it figured out. Aaron Wilkinson says, just bought one.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Welcome aboard. Send pictures.
Yeah.
I have some. I've got some stuff that are out there. But
Everybody send your pictures, man.
Yeah.
We love pictures.
If you have pictures of any kind on any build, on any system, you can just send them to the website. You just go to the bottom, show off your ride, put your stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It'll end up in a post. I will use it.
Yeah,
just send it to me.
If you give us the okay to send that in, or we're just going to assume if you send a picture in, we're good to use it. But
it says that in the form.
It does say that in the form. But we like that stuff. If you're proud enough of your ride to send us a picture, we're proud enough of you as a customer to post the thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And some of the pictures we get are interesting, unique, and some are pretty gnarly, but still kind of cool in their own way. I collect pictures. So, yeah.
Yeah. Joshua Herdman says, what is the Fusion? ? Nothing pulls up on your site.
We fused an ECU to a throttle body. Fusion.
Yep. It should be there. Killshot Fusion. It's right here.
We had I think at that time was literally when you was putting that in, we was just posting that thing is available.
Yeah, it has its own tab at the top.
Yeah, it's so you might have got there 3 seconds before we actually hit post. Because we kind of pushed it all out at the same time, like as marketing, as e-commerce, as tech, as we're all doing our thing and putting this product out, like we're all checking the yes boxes.
Yep, it's there.
Killshot Fusion initial adjustments on that big old hog cam having Camaro that runs at the top of the map.
Yep.
We didn't even hook the brake booster up because it's pointless on that car.
Yep.
It doesn't do anything. You plug it in, you're just running an extra bit of hose, and there's no vacuum.
Yeah.
There's no vacuum to be had in that car.
Sweet.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right.
Nano74Z. Excellent video. Go grab an ice cold beverage, Tim. That area looks really hot. It is. It's 10 degrees hotter here because we're on really bright pavement. So the heat itself is coming up and down and sideways at you.
Some of you guys know what that's all about.
It's gnarly. That's my favorite word of the day is gnarly.
Gnarly.
It was hot. I ain't kidding. It was hot. It's still hot outside. We go past that door right there on the side of our studio. It goes up 35 degrees.
Yep. Real adrenaline racing. What? This is what we needed. Real world example, and can't wait to try this on the 68 Camaro tomorrow. It idles and cruises awesome, but any load on the car, and she kicks and sputters and jolts, and been trying to let it tune on its own for about 200 miles and not getting anywhere.
Man, take that example, plug that laptop in, get it to where it's kicking and sputtering, and look at what your AFRs are doing. It's either going to be crazy rich or it's not going to have enough fuel in that table. And it might just be too fat. You could be getting up in that, upper area of the table, 3,000 RPMs, and it's just got 20% too much fuel or something like that. Just highlight that area where it's complaining, pull some out, interpolate in between, make sure the AFRs are doing a good job. I think I go over that in the video a bunch, but yeah, we're gonna be pushing a lot more for this kind of educational material to help you guys out, because not everybody is, they don't have all the tuning experience. They're not super awesome users of computers and things. So at least we can get people in the right direction, because there's people having a go of it, which I really congratulate you on, but you need more information, and that falls on me to push that out harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I've been lazy. I have just a lot to push out.
Yep. I think this is these are two good ones to wrap up on. One is from ThaaBestEver. He says, do one like this for a boosted car.
I agree. We have a LS Swap Subaru that I got to dial in a tune for, and that would probably be a really good one because it's a spicy motor, a lot of turbo. It's going to be it's actually a real challenge to get that thing tuned right because of just how complicated and how much crazy overlap that cam has with that big turbo. So it gives it a headache at idle, cruising, and wide open. So it'll be a real challenge to overcome, but it'll give you guys some insight into what the hard ones look like.
Yep. And TR Tektro Gaming. Cool. What would really help me is my fuel self-learn table RPM axis isn't the same as my VE table RPM axis, and I'm not finding a way I can change that so my truck is getting readings in places I can't fix.
Oh, right on. So you can change that under X point. You can change the actual VE table and the learning table itself. If you look at points or X, you can change that too. Just go over into settings and you'll see like X point. You can go in there and it'll say like RPM, and it'll give you the axis just for RPM, and you can actually, if you really wanted to, make those match. Just a thing you can do.
Yeah.
One has more resolution than the other. We know that, but we have limitations on how big a map we could do at this time. Later we'll add more into that when we put an even crazier, more powerful MCU in our ECUs, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, so
I think we gotta.
We're both coughing. We both got a good sweat on, but I'm happy that we decided to push through and go ahead and read these comments and give some answers for you folks.
Yep, absolutely. If you liked it and you put up with us this far, leave a like down below. Leave a comment, and we will do our best to get to it in our next Tech Tuesday video. If you have other people that are thinking about going to EFI, send them our way. We'd love to help them out. We'll just keep on trekking on.
Yeah.
And we'll see all of you, as always, in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye now.